with that, why don't you tear into it and start making a pair?
Well, we've made it through. We thought we'd go back and hit some of the things that we might not have been real clear on during the course. The first thing was on the lasting pliers. Now, you saw him use those European pliers, and this is what I ordered from USM to take the place of those. And this is a number 3 lasting pincer, but I wouldn't recommend you get this one. Get the next one down, the number 2, because it's small enough to be handy, but yet they're big enough to be strong enough to give a good reef on whatever you're pulling on. And the smallest ones that we use a lot, especially in the toe area, are the aught. So that's on that part. And on the rolling, on the bottom of the boot after you finish it, to put that decoration on the shank area, this is a little deal that I got from Save More. It's got all kinds of different little wheels on it with little designs on it. I like to fool with it and put those on. And the address is in your supplier list. It's in your goodie box.
We've sent you a list of suppliers that we buy from that we feel are decent suppliers. If you are buying and you're just starting and you're on a limited basis, don't bother with a lot of the big fellas, because unless you're buying in quantity, they don't want to talk to you. A shoe finder is an excellent place to start, because he will sell you one of something. It'll cost you more, but he will sell you one of something. If you have trouble finding a shoe finder, check in your yellow pages. If you can't find one there, write to the American Shoe Service. There's a copy of it right there. I think we've given them the address as well.
Yeah.
They have a list of shoe finders. It's always better to buy from someone in your local area. Cuts postage down. As far as one in particular that is geared to the bootmaker, this Plains Leather in Lubbock, Texas, that we were telling you about as far as thread, has a great deal of this stuff in stock all the time. They've got lasting pinchers and so forth in stock. This is where you can buy the smaller spools of thread, the 800-yard spools. They cost $2 a piece. You'll sew a long time before you use them up. It's a cheaper way to get into it. This again is the softer thread. This is size 69, size 46. 69 is the size that you use on your patching machine for your shoe repairman. This is the next size smaller. In the spool size, it's called a B. You use a DE in that grading system. In the numerical system, it's size 69 that you use in the shoe repair, size 46 that you would buy for your pattern stitching. This is a soft thread. I was telling you when we were stitching patterns that I had a little bit of trouble getting it to feed in my machines, the softer thread. The thread that I use on the bigger spools in the size 46 is a bonded thread. So it's a little stiffer, and it seemed to work a little better for me.
They call that glace sometimes, also bonded or glace.
Plains Leather is a good outfit for you to do business with, because they're geared for the bootmaker. They're right in the heart of the bootmaking country.
Another thing on the hot glue, the first hot glue that you get, the stuff that we got from Sears to start with was really all right. And just the way to test is just take a cold piece of it and give it a bend. And if it's stiff, but yet it'll still flex without breaking or cracking around the edges, then it'll work fine.
You want something that's going to set up more like a rubber instead of a glue. So many times in the repair industry, you get a shoe in with hot glue in it, and it's very brittle. That's not what we want for that cover. You want something that's going to form a semi-rigid rubber cover. Then you won't have that trouble. We also mentioned Lexol in the film several times. This is Lexol. It comes in a cleaner and a conditioner. When I get done making a pair of boots, I generally give them a coat of Lexol. It's about 80% lanolin, and it softens the leather back up. All that natural moisture that you washed out of it, you put back in with this, and you can shine over it. When I get done with a pair of boots, I give them a jar of it. I put a set of shoe trees in the boots. I make them feel like the boots are important. Give them the polish to take care of it. That way when they walk out of there, they have no excuse for not taking care of them. This again is through any local finder, they carry this.
Now this is another magazine that's on your list, and it is, I put a note on the list saying that it's geared to bigger outfits, but there's a lot of good information in there, not so much the articles, but ads. If you really get into it, that's what it'll be good for. But like we said, don't bother these people with if you're only going to make one pair, because it'll just make it harder for the rest of us to deal with them. So once this is worthwhile to take for at least a year, so you get exposed to some of the things that these people know about.
They have pretty good articles in there, and they give you a current price as to what hides are running, and they talk on general new machinery to the industry. And it's interesting to know what's available, even if you may not want it. We talked over and over and over about a staple gun. It occurred to us that I never really gave you a model number of it, if you were interested. This is a JN2333. It has another feature in that you can buy colored staples for it. You go through Senco. We gave you the Senco Frontier number in Billings, Montana. I'm sure if you check through the construction houses, wood retail stores, they would have a number for you. Senco is a very large air fastener system throughout the United States. And don't be afraid to ask them if they've got used one. I bought this one used for half the price, and there's nothing wrong with it. So don't be afraid to ask them if they've got a used gun.
Also, now this shoots a narrow staple. There's a lot of guns. Let me get one out here. A lot of guns shoot a wider staple, and this is only about a little less than a 1/4 inch wide, and it seems to be better for lasting. Now I've got a wider one that I've used for different things, but it's not as good for lasting as this narrow crown stapler.
We also talked about a heel pry throughout, and we never really showed you one. This is something again that you can get from any shoe finder. These are particular ones, a USM. It's merely a flat blade with a curve to it. It tapers up front here, and it is just that. Generally in the repair industry, you use it to pry the heel off when you're repairing them. You'll find it useful in the making of them because you can get in and spread out your lining and so forth. We also used a nail set that I never mentioned to you when I was putting the rubber heel on. After you've driven your nails in, you have to set them. You have to countersink them, and this is just simply a nail set that, again, you can get from your shoe finder. Some of it you can buy at your local hardware store.
And the rubber cement that we talked about that we use for several things, there's lots of different kinds of that. Whatever your local finder has is fine. There's Cat's Paw and Jet Set and lots of them. So just any of the rubber cements will work fine.
We thought we'd give you the number of the nylon thread that I use in my straight needle stitcher to close the side seams of the boot. This varies from the type of machine you're using. This is a 468 weight-wise. It's a nylon thread. It isn't pre-waxed or anything. I like using a heavier thread on there. You don't have a tendency to bust it quite as easily. It's hard to get a machine set up to sew nylon thread like these old machines that are geared to sew your flax or linen threads, because nylon stretches so bad. Doug's straight needle machine has no trouble at all sewing it, but I've had a little difficulty getting mine to lock deep enough. So that's something to be aware of. We thought we'd mention again the trim. We get it from Texas Leather Trim. The address again is on your sheet. I use 5/16 side welting and 3/8 piping for the top. The top is called piping, the side is called side welting. This works well with the dimensions we gave you. If you were to go to a wider or a narrower side welting, your heel measurement that we showed you how to accommodate will change, so be aware of that. The size I use is 5/16.
On the toe boxes, that we use the fiber box material that you break down with a thinning solution, And you can use just about anything that gets stiff in there. We've used shoe goo, and let it harden and then grind it to shape, and that works fine. So don't be afraid to try different things. Don't use fiberglass. I use some fiberglass on a pair, and it has a tendency to kind of curl on the upper vamp, so that it digs into the people's toes, and then there's no way, once that stuff hardens, you're done. So that's something that you wouldn't want to try as fiberglass.
I also forgot to mention in our foot measuring, when we were measuring the feet before we even started building the last, make sure the person is wearing the weight of sock they're going to be wearing with the boot. That is very critical. I've had ladies come in with heavy socks on and then come in and try them on with nylons. They aren't going to fit. Tell the people that whatever they're wearing that day, that's what they're going to have to wear, because the boots fit that critical. I also mentioned the baking soda and water solution. I put about a teaspoonful of baking soda in a cup of water. It isn't terribly difficult to figure it out, but we thought we'd mention to you what it is. I also never mentioned in my beeswax solution that I stick my awl in. I said it was part liquid stitcher wax, and it's usually on about a 2/3 beeswax, 1/3 stitcher wax combination, and then just melt it all together. That's another formula we forgot to give you.
Some people, when they're finishing the bottom, ink the whole bottom of the shoe. We don't think that looks as good as a nice finished leather bottom, but if you get in trouble and it gets kind of scarred up, that's one way to go. Just ink the whole thing and then just polish it.
Doug was going to show you some of the tools he's made. We mentioned that you could make your tools to fit a stand-up jack as well. You don't have to have everything like your inseaming jack to sit down. So we thought we'd show you the tools that Doug has made to stand up, so you can do everything from your repair jack if you wanted to.
I'm more of a sit-down person myself, so I made a sit-down size like this. This is what I use for my, can't use that one. Like we mentioned, there's two different holes, but when you get set up for one, you can't. And basically all this is just a heavy pin. My stand-up jack is the same size of pipe as this, and I just made a heavy piece of steel dowel to go down in there with a strap and then a collar down here to keep it from moving. And this is spring-loaded here with an adjustment to tighten this back and forth for your different sizes. And then it's just adjustable up and down to help lock your last on. So this is just an old disc off of a farmer's disc with a piece of, I think it was 2-inch pipe. That's the same size as my stand-up jack anyway. So you can come up with lots of things, but you just need a little bit of pressure on the front of these so you can spring it out to get it to hold it up a little bit when you're pegging and such. It binds it on the pin. I also made just a regular pin for it. And also this is my pulling attachment. Yeah. And it just snaps in here. Of course, I use it with my stand-up jack, but that's what it amounts to. So don't be afraid to make this stuff if you've got a welder. It's not that bad, and you can't buy it anywhere. You just about have to make it. So
if you are having trouble trying to figure this stuff out, let us know. We'll give you the dimensions of this stuff. It isn't anything, any deep dark secret as far as what fits what. It's just stuff that we've made. We've made about 4 inseaming jacks till we come up with what fit our need best. One thing we should tell you is if you make an inseaming jack with a separate post here, don't put a spring in it. That was one of our first ideas, and if you go to pegging or pounding on it, you're going to chase your shoe all over the place. So don't do that. That was a bad idea. We'll give you a tip on that to start with.
Yeah, now this is solid here with just a hinge, so this hinges in and out. And also you want to be sure and keep any connections you got down, because the top of your boot comes down here and you don't want to have to wad it up. You like to leave it nice and straight, so keep whatever connections you have down a ways from the top.
If you are having trouble finding lasting pliers, if you're having trouble heating some of this stuff, let us know. We've decided that we'd go ahead and order it for you. We are established with quite a few places, and we will send you a copy of the invoice, and we figured we'd mark it up 20%. Charge you 20% for the bother of doing it. We also thought at this time we'd give you the last numbers of the lasts that we have through Vulcan. This is a big step into the door. If you call them and say, I'm wondering if you could turn me some lasts in this number, it impresses them a lot more. They're a lot more willing to talk to you because you have a number to start with. The main last I use, and the most current last as of 1981, is an S5134-2. This is the main last that I use, and you can get it in any metal bottom shape or configuration you want. This is just a heel. You can get them half or whatever. So that is the main last. The Lucchese style last as of 1982 is number 1170. That's with your squared off toe. The older style last with the pointed toe like this is of 1968 vintage. I don't know. You'd have to check with them on this one. And it's an S8721. Okay, those three numbers will get you in the door. As far as what they're going to do, Vulcan, when I first contacted Vulcan, I had to call them 6 times before I get anybody to talk to me. And they give you the spiel that if you buy 1 to 5, it's $55 a pair, and if you buy 5 to 10, it's less and less and less. Obviously, the more you buy, the cheaper it is. This is going to be your big problem. You can't make any shoes without them. So don't get discouraged. I mean, it took me almost a year to get into them to where I could buy them. We have got about a half a dozen lasts that we have bought extra of that we have for sale. They aren't a pointed toe Western boot last. They do have about an inch to inch and a quarter heel on them. The one particular last we have has about an inch and 7/8 on it. They are round-toed lasts. But don't be afraid to change the toe style. Don't be scared off of buying a last because of the toe character, because that's the easiest thing in the world to change. We have some extra of these. I'll let Doug go through them and show you what we've got. Some of them would make excellent roper lasts. I've already made some roper boots on these lasts, and they work very, very well. I'll let Doug go through them with you. Keep these numbers in mind because you're going to need them if you want to get into Vulcan.
Also, I might mention that Jones and Vining, they will make small amounts of last. By small amounts, that means 100 pair. But you have to use something that they're already making for somebody else. They won't, unless you're talking 5,000 or something, they won't make what you want. So they will sell them to you, but it's 100 pairs or more, and you have to take just whatever they happen to have. Sterling, they don't seem to want to deal with anybody small, so you might try them. Maybe your luck would be different than ours, but Sterling just wouldn't deal with us at all. This is one of the last that we have. This is a pretty, almost a moccasin toed last. Let's see, this is, I don't know what sizes we got in this one.
Everything from B out to triple E. They do run a little large. They run about a size full on them. If you were using a 7E, it's about a 7 double E. It would make a good work boot last, a lace-up boot last. It would make a good roper last. It's got a moderate toe. Why don't you turn the toe on and let them see the toe. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a low heel. It's about a 1-inch heel, so you couldn't make a severe heel on it. But they're a wooden last and they're a hinged last, so they're not bad to work with.
They do have the 3/8 hole.
Yeah, you do have to drill the hole out.
If you want to use half-inch pin, you're going to have to drill a hole on those. Okay, this is these are a plastic last. This is 809 is the number of this one. It's a Jones and Vining last, but this is a 79, so I don't know if you could order them direct or not. Now this has a steel for a steel toe or a heavy toe box. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is a little bit indented. When I use these, I just fill this, put a leather fill on it, where they work all right. This got a pretty good heel on it. This is a, I don't know, maybe like a logger boot, maybe.
It would have about an 1.25 inch heel on it, so it's getting more into the acceptable heel height for a Western boot.
Let's see, in this one we've got 809. We've got C 6 to 12, E 6 to 13, and double E 6 to 12. Oh, now that's one thing on these ones we've got spares. We're not gonna sell one pair. You take one of each of everything we got or nothing.
We can't start breaking them up into one pair at a time because we're going to be stuck with a lot of 14 triple A's. We bought them as sets, we want to sell them as sets.
Okay, now this is another, similar to that first last we were showing you, except it is a rounded toe. A little bit higher heel too. And on this one we've got C's 7 to 13, D's 6 to 14, E's 14 or 4 to 14, double E's 6 to 12, and triple E's 5 to 15. And there's the toe on that one. Now this one has the heel plate and the steel heel or toe cap on it too. These are wooden lasts. They're used, but they're not bad shape. The ones that were ate out, they've patched up. So it's a usable last, and it's not too bad looking, but it is a pretty rounded toe.
All of them we've got have got the heel plate on them. Some have the toe plate.
Okay, this is another workish boot type last. This one is numbered 526. We've got C's 6 to 13, D's 5 to 14, E's 5.5 to 14. This also has a little bit of indentation here on the front, but that's not a problem, so don't be afraid of that. You need to just grind that little ridge off, or you can fill the front with leather. And like he said, don't be afraid. You can point these if you want them a little more, or blunt them even.
Yeah, you can make a square-toed fry type boot on them so easy that it'd be pitiful. All of these would make a nice fry boot. Don't be afraid with toe character, because that's the easiest thing to change. Finding the last is the hardest part.
Yeah, now these are Jones and Vining, dated on 74. The number is 526. Some of these numbers we've tried to fill in some of them, and a lot of the numbers they don't even know what are anymore. So
they pretty much stay current with what they're selling to the big producers, and everything else goes to the wayside. You can get a hold of Dawkins and give him any of these numbers, and he will be able to make you a last just like it. The Western boot numbers that I gave you, he will make you. He has patterns, and he can make you an exact copy of that, except it'll have the separating cone on it. He charges $100 a pair. It's not a bad way to go if you just want one pair of lasts in your size to start with. I know $100 sounds like an awful lot, but at least you're not investing in a big run of lasts that you don't know if you're going to use or not.
Okay, this is the most cowboyish last that we have. It's more like a Packer maybe. It's 709, and we've got C's 7 to 13 and E's 5 to 13 in this one. It's got a cowboy height heel on it. It is pretty round-toed. It has the heel plate and the toe plate on them. Makes up nice. Now you could point this and make a cowboy boot out of this pretty easy. Wouldn't be any problem at all, I don't think. This does have pretty much an inner cone on it too.
And we figured on these we would go $10 on the wooden lasts per pair and $12 on the plastic lasts per pair. They are all usable. You would never have to worry in your lifetime wearing them out. I mean, even though they're used, we just don't make that volume of shoe on them to wear them out. So if you're having difficulty, here are some lasts that are available. And you can make Western boots out of them with no problem. We already have. This set of numbers gives you a big jump. You're not going into it cold. You're going to be able to get a hold of these outfits and give them a number to start with, and that means a great deal. But again, if you're going to Vulcan, if you're going to Jones and Vining, they're going to want, in order to give you any type of a fill run-wise at all, you're going to buy 100 pair. 150 pair is even more likely if you wanted to go, say, from A to E. So be aware of that. I had to buy 125 pair just to get in the door.
This one here is dated 1958. It is a wooden last, so sometimes they might, if you just hit the right guy. We found that it all depends on who you talk to. If you happen to hit somebody that's in a good mood that day, they'll help you out. If they happen to have a bad morning, they won't even talk to you. So don't be afraid to keep calling and try for a different guy or gal. Sometimes it'll make a difference, and what branch of the outfit you talk to makes a difference sometimes.
You want to hit on the books real quick here?
Okay, now we've sent you a book list in your packet of goodies there. I'll just run through quickly. This is the manual of shoemaking. This is printed by an outfit in Europe that as a training book for their people that they hire, and it's pretty good. This one is a repair book. This one is real important. This is a pattern book. It's hard to understand. If you get this and have some questions, we can probably help you out, but it takes a lot of study to be able to make your own patterns. I don't really think there's. This is a bunch of articles. It's listed in your book. It's worth trying to find. Go to a big library or something and copy this article by Lucchese out, because it's worth reading. It really is. So with that, I think we'll probably have to shut her off here.
Yep. If you have any questions, call us. That's why we let you have the consultation on it. We figured we'd limit the consultation to 5 calls. We obviously don't want to be hounded to death. We feel we've answered everything for you. But call us. We'll talk to you.
And also, if you have, maybe you run onto some place to get something, let us know. Or if you have a